Hello everybody, welcome back to What If All the Dragon Ball Sagas Happened at the Same Time? So, what's been happening with Trunks? We'll cover that now in part 3. Before we start, I just wanted to give a little heads up that the audio might be a little different because I got myself a boom arm and one of the little foam pieces for my mic, so yeah, if at least one guy can let me know in the comments if it sounds better or worse, that would be great. Alright, if you've watched Dragon Ball Z, you know that there's one, as well as many other, unexplainable phenomenons. The phenomenon that I'm talking about is about future Trunks' universe. The androids from this timeline are simply weaker than the main timeline. Toei never really had a real explanation for this, so I say why not spice things up a little by using this little bit of information. Some of you probably saw this coming as soon as I brought it up, but the cosmic rift from Goku and FRIEZA happened in this timeline too. And of course, the silent rule has been affected. For some unexplainable reason, all villains from this timeline are now going to be stronger than the main timeline. Now, I don't want this timeline to spoil the main timeline fights, but there's a lot of death and tragedy going on. I mean, Frieza, King Cold, the androids, Cell Jr., Babidi, Dabura, Buu. Earth has become a living hell, especially since these villains are now canonically stronger. And even with the Zenkai boost from the Rift, Z-Fighters simply were not able to keep up with the intensity of it all. Goku dies from the heart virus, Vegeta dies, Piccolo dies, Tien, Yamcha, Chaozu, all unfortunately pass away. It's a bloodbath. Through this hell on Earth, only two Saiyans remained, young Gohan and baby Trunks. In all the devastation, Gohan lost Chi-Chi's whereabouts and went to Capsule Corp, while Bulma pled him to take Trunks and fly away. She plans to make a distraction so that the two can run away. Gohan reluctantly agrees and takes Trunks and flies away as far as he can go. He makes it to the other side of the world, but even here he knows he's not safe. They will eventually come and destroy him. He's heartbroken that everyone he knows is dead, but suddenly, two figures teleport in front of him. This is the Supreme Kai and his attendant, Shin and Kibito. They were alerted of Majin Buu's revival and immediately headed over to Earth. Here, they made a pit stop over at the current Guardian of Earth, Kami, to get informed about everything happening on the planet. He hears of the Saiyans on Earth doing everything in their power to defeat the villains and decided to find them. Kami sends them out, and here they are. Shin asks what happened to all the other Saiyans, and to their surprise, they hear that they all died. The only ones left are these two young children. Shin feels the insane potential of these two kids and realizes they're the only hope of this universe, the only two that could ever defeat Majin Buu. He has to keep them safe. Maybe that time room Kami made a comment about might be the only option. He discusses his game plan to Gohan, and he agrees that it's the only way he's going to get strong enough to defeat all these villains and destroy the Earth with the Dragon Balls. So, Shin and Kibito use the Kai Kai to get back over to the lookout, and to their horror, Majin Buu, or Super Buu at this point, is already there. Kami is nowhere to be seen, so they make the sad conclusion that he's already candy. Shin uses his fast thinking and uses his Kai abilities to encase Buu in a block of Ketchin. Kais can do this for some reason, I don't really know why, don't ask me. And they all make a mad dash to the time chamber. They all make it inside, and Shin immediately blasts the door off its hinges, trapping the four of them in the room forever. Well, not really. Shin has two aces up its sleeve that can get him out of this room. The patented Kai Kai, along with something else, just in case. So, the Shin and Kibito raising the Saiyans arc begins. I really don't want this future part of the series to be too long, so a lot of filler is going to be cut out here. Since Shin and Kibito are the Kais, they don't necessarily have to eat, but the rations here won't last long for the two growing Saiyan boys, so they have to do something pretty desperate here. They're going to raise these two boys to become Kais themselves. So, the group spends a grueling 6 to 7 years in the time chamber. Here, Trunks is being mentored in the way of the Kais and in the way of the Saiyan, and by this time, he gets very strong. But Gohan got even stronger. He broke his limits and ascended past the Super Saiyan form, and with the addition of his Kai powers, he believes that he could defeat the villains and save Earth. Yes, Kami's dead, but Gohan believes the Namekians over at New Namek would let him use Purunga to revive the Earth and everyone else. He's full of hope and is ready to get out of here. Shin tells him that he's ready, and expected Gohan to Kai Kai out of the time room, but Gohan smiles and said he's going to get out the Saiyan way. He explodes into his new form, Super Saiyan 2, as well as concentrating all the divine ki in his body. He screams with power, and this scream surprisingly blows a hole through space and time, creating a way out. Gohan waves to the Kais and Trunks and says he'll be back in no time. He leaves the time room. And sadly, that's actually the last time Trunks ever saw Gohan. A whole year passed in the time room, and Trunks has completely lost hope. The battle couldn't have taken an entire day. Something bad must have happened. The Supreme Kai also believes this, and sadly tells Trunks that Buu, or whoever else out there, must have somehow gotten stronger than Gohan, even with the godly training. Trunks, full of emotions, screams with power, unlocking the Super Saiyan 2 state. But no, this isn't enough. Trunks needs to train every day until he drops. He will find a new power, one that will surely kill the monster that killed his best friend. Alright, this is where I'm going to let the alternate timeline sit for a while, and I'm going to go back to the main timeline. If you forgot, Androids 17 and 18 were absorbed by Cell, and he became perfect, but what happened to the other wandering android? Android 16 is aimlessly wandering around at this point. He can't find Goku's energy anywhere, so apparently he's hiding it. But suddenly, 16 senses two immense energies clashing in a random location in the desert. Android 16 is intrigued and flies over to the altercation. And here, he surprisingly finds a demon and a fat pink blob going at it. This is of course Dabura and Majin Buu. Buu wanted to play with Dabura, and Babidi said sure because he didn't really need the Demon King anymore. Android 16 is surprised that he has zero data on either of these strong fighters, and decides to hide on the sidelines in order to watch and collect more data. He quickly realizes how powerful the Blob Man is. He fights with such a playful manner and is just acting like the fight's all just a game. It's sort of a slaughter for the demon guy, and it's not like this guy's a joke either. He might even be stronger than himself, but he is collecting vital info from this which might help him out in the future. But then, Majin Buu stops fighting and claims he's tired and wants to eat. He licks his lips and suddenly shoots a beam from his antenna at Dabura. It's too fast to dodge, and the Great Demon King becomes a little piece of candy. After this, Android 16 decides that he has enough information for now. He's going to try to get out of here. He makes a mad dash over a mountain and continues flying for a bit, but out of nowhere he slams face first into a fat pink belly. Majin Buu raises a yellow glove and points at Android 16. "Buu board, now you play with Buu," and karate chops the android down to the ground. 60 decides that there's no escaping this fight. For some reason he's just too fast. He has to fight here and now. He gets above the Majin and shoots a rocket punch, sending Buu flying. As the battle progresses, the info taken from the Dabura fight is helping Android 16 dodge most of Buu's attacks, but the real issue is that he can't figure out how to harm the Majin. Every time he punches or blasts him, he just regenerates and gets right back in the fight. But he has time to think of a solution. He is an android with infinite energy after all. Well, that would be the case if Buu wasn't such a powerhouse. He starts to play harder, and lands more and more hits on the android, who's getting pretty damaged. Just how long can the Android 16 last? Meanwhile, back at West City, Piccolo and Gohan are stunned by the overwhelming power of the two new key signatures they feel. One seems to be pretty far away, while the other one seems to be surprisingly close in West City. It could possibly be Android 17, but no, there's no way he could have got that strong in the condition he was left in. They also couldn't sense his ki when they were all fighting. And while they start to think about their next plan, two figures immediately appear in front of them. These two people are this timeline's Shin and Kibito. They came here to recruit the Z-Fighters in their battle against Majin Buu, who just recently emerged from his slumber. Shin explains the Buu lore to Piccolo and Gohan, and Piccolo immediately knows that these two aren't lying about being Kais. He can definitely feel it in their energy. Gohan says he has a couple more Saiyans that can help out with Majin Buu, but before he can finish his sentence, Vegeta flies in and lands near the group. So they discuss Majin Buu, and the androids they both somehow let slip out in the battle. Vegeta then agrees to help out, figuring that he could test his new power on another strong enemy. Gohan is a bit confused about where Goku is, and tries to ask Shin, but before he could, the key signature nearby rockets towards them. This guy's strong, so Gohan, Piccolo, and Vegeta all get ready for a fight. Finally, the key signature is right in front of them. Cell smiles. Finally, some people worth fighting. Cell introduces himself to the group, and surprisingly states that he wants to fight the strongest person in the group. He's relatively new to this free will thing, and he wants to test his skill. Shin and Kibito are shocked to sense that there's really no ominous ki from this guy, and ask the Z-Fighters if they know him. They all shake their heads, except Vegeta. He stands up and says that if you want to fight the strongest Saiyan, you found them. He doesn't care if he's evil or not, he just wants a challenge, which is pretty similar to Cell. Vegeta knows Cell's power is definitely more than Android 18, so he goes all out from the start. He screams and powers up to Super Vegeta, or Super Saiyan Grade 2 if you're a nerd. Full of cockiness, Vegeta charges up a ki blast and fires it at Cell, blowing away everyone in the area. But to his horror, Cell didn't move an inch. He flies down to Vegeta and begins bullying him with ki blasts and blows. Vegeta's somewhat blocking against it, but it's apparent he's not going to last very long. Here, Gohan and Piccolo decide to jump into the mix. Piccolo channels all of his ki up, while Gohan transforms into Super Saiyan. With all of them attacking, they put out a good fight, but it's no use. Cell uses a solar flare and sends the Z-Fighters crashing down to the ground, one by one. It's hopeless. Even with all three rushing him, they only gave Cell a scratch. Cell lands on the ground, and is sad to see everyone in such a weak state. He had a much higher hope for the Saiyans. Well, surprisingly, he thanks the Z-Fighters for the opportunity, and begins to leave. But right before he flies off, he feels a key signature behind him for a split second before he gets kneed in the back of the head, sending him flying into a building. Kakarot is finally here, and he's ready to destroy this android. Well, that's where I'm going to cut off part 3. If you enjoyed this series so far, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you know when part 4 drops. The like goal for part 4 is going to be 70 likes. Alrighty, see ya.